Okay, am I good? Am I good? Are we going? My goodness, I had the good intention of like I'm gonna do this vlog tonight because I'm mildly more awake than I was yesterday, and then I spent the last 20 minutes trying to figure out why my computer wasn't playing sound. I thought it was OBS just not recording sound. Maybe the update. I did an update on my computer last night. Screwed up like the audio settings. No, it decided to switch after 20 minutes of trying to figure out why I wasn't recording sound or playing sound. It's because when I updated my computer, it switched the default output audio to my microphone that doesn't play audio. So I had to switch it back to my headphones. And now I have sound. Now I'm recording sound. I tested it. It should be. Welcome back to another calm author vlog where I talk about just all the things of being an author that you might not see if you're not an author or if you just, because when you hold like I had a spiel that I did at the beginning of these and I'm not doing it today. I don't feel like it. A quick update for me, but not really a quick update. It's more of just an update. I had that 4-day weekend last weekend. I took Thursday and Friday off, so I had a 4-day weekend for my birthday. And my goal was to work on a book. I didn't know what book I wanted to work on until I basically woke up on Thursday morning because I have 3 projects right now that I am juggling. One of which is the book 5 in the high fantasy series that I have been working on for a very long time. And I have the sequel to The Blood Enchanters that I've outlined several times. I'm just kind of fluffing the outline a little bit more every time I do it. And then I have a contemporary romantic horror is the genre combination that I'm going with. I didn't know which one I wanted to do because I had kind of played with all 3 of them in the past several weeks, but I kind of came to the conclusion that I was, a little burnt out on fantasy. uh, because for me, I know for me, I know every author is different, but for me, I need to be reading in the genre that I'm writing. I need to feed the creative fuel. I need like the vibes of what I'm going for. So like if I'm listening to music, I'll try to get something that kind of has the essence that I kind of want to imbue into whatever I'm working on. So I didn't know what I wanted to work on until I basically woke up on Thursday morning. I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling fantasy. Let me just start in on this contemporary romance. And it's not a contemporary romance, a contemporary romantic horror. There's not just a romance, there's horror elements in it. I had this fear that I was gonna get in and I was gonna do like a couple chapters and realize that it wasn't just fitting, so I would like do a couple more chapters on like another project and then I would basically waste the weekend and not do anything. That was my fear. That is not what happened. I am very happy to say, finally, that I did an entire revision of that romantic horror. Entire revision. From page 1 to page whatever it's on until I got to write the end. Let me tell you a quick story about this. Like, I have been fighting with this premise, with this story nugget idea for years, literal years. It has haunted me. I can't get rid of it. So I'm like, I just need to write it. I need to get it out. Get it out of my head, get off my desk. And something has always happened. Every time I get into this draft, I will get like halfway in or like a quarter way through and just kind of lose interest. I will fizzle out. I will feel the call back to fantasy, and then this draft just kind of sits. So this book has been half written several times. Like I have started a draft and I've got halfway through and just stopped. Partly because I didn't really know how it was going to end. I didn't have an ending in mind. I knew what I wanted to happen, but just not how it was going to come about. And it's very similar to the problem that I had with book 4 in the high fantasy trilogy that I've been working on. Not trilogy. This is a series. There's like 5 books. I spent all day Thursday, Friday, and Saturday working on this book. Like working on this book for 6 or 7 hours, like putting in like a full work day. I didn't open Minecraft. I didn't open YouTube. I didn't open any distractions. I think that is the key that like actually got me to finish the draft. I put on my, what are they called? Hold on. Noise canceling headphones. I had a playlist going on my phone and I was just in the story. And I think, like, it's just very rare that I just have that kind of creative energy to just fall into a draft. And I think some of it was me basically telling myself, okay, I'm going to get started on this draft. I have 3 or 4 days. I'm going to get it done. Because I know, like, my limits, like, I can definitely do a draft in that amount of time if I have nothing else to do. And I feel good. Like, I'm not like, don't have like a headache or a migraine that's gonna like knock me out for like 2 days. Or sometimes yes, you just don't feel like it. That was my fear, that I wasn't gonna feel like it, but I did. And I finished a draft. I finished the draft. And I feel good about the draft that I have. I have some notes, but they're mostly like cleaning up the draft that I have. Like, I have worked, like, throwing the clay around and trying to get this story to work. And now I finally have a draft that I feel confident about. So now I can move forward into like the latter half of like the revising, the drafting stage. Or really, the drafting stage is over. I am now moving into the revision stage. Because, like, drafting is more, you're building, you're trying to figure out what works, you're trying to get all the gears of the story to the places where they work the best. Revision is more cleaning it up, making it shine, making sure you don't have any loose ends, making sure all like the story arcs are complete. And I know there are several like little things, and I'm like, oh, I didn't really tie up that knot, very nicely. So I have a couple notes that are just like little things to clean up on the draft. And I also would really like to get rid of about 10,000 words, because right now it is sitting, I think, just over 99,000. And for the genre, like it's more like 70 to 90,000 is like the zone, the sweet spot. So I would like to get rid of some of those words. And I know there are some portions that do drag. So there's places I can clean it up and like tighten the story up, definitely. All in all, the 40 weekend, absolute success. I finished it on Saturday actually, so I had all of Sunday to just chill out. And I actually spent it working on my Minecraft castle, because I'm a nerd. Because I mean, I'm not a nerd, I'm super cool. And then listening to, oh, what book did I start? I started an audiobook. It was the Darcy Coates. Oh no, it's the one, it's underwater. They're like diving in like the shipwreck that like sank and nobody really knows why it sank, and like it's interspersed with like the main story and like chapters from like a character's perspective on the ship, like in the days leading up to its sinking. I really enjoyed it. I listened to it for like 6 hours. That was my, okay, I did it. This is my reward time. I also had papers to grade, so I did work, just not writing work. And I haven't since Saturday. Like, I am letting myself breathe. I'm letting that creative muscle like relax. Because because it was such an intensive like 3 days of writing. I'm like, I need to calm down. I need my brain to breathe, and I need to read. So before I start anything else, I need to finish at least one of the books that I'm reading. Well, I finished one yesterday, and I started another one. So yeah, it's fine. I'm already halfway to my reading goal this year, so I am doing very well as far as like reading books. And I don't know what I'm gonna work on next. Like, I don't know if I want to jump back into that contemporary horror, or if I want to just let it sit so I can come back into it with more of like a fresh mindset. Because one of my goals for 2026 was to get the rough draft finished for the second book in the Blood Enchantress, or the sequel to the Blood Enchantress. When I wrote that book, I had it like, that book itself is complete. Book 2 will follow the main character's sister. So I in what I have planned for this is that, well, when I wrote it, it was a standalone. Then it wasn't anymore. That there will be 3 books. Like, I have a trilogy planned, and each book will follow a different character. And I want to have like the same vibes as like the Blood Enchantress. Like, there's romance, but there's also a plot. It's a little on the darker side, but I just haven't felt like writing fantasy. I haven't really felt like reading fantasy either. I feel like burnt myself out a little bit. Like I tried to read several like real popular fantasy books, and I just could not get into them. They were just, I kept seeing just this, I just didn't like them. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you what they were, but I just could not get into them. I didn't think they were well written. The characters were annoying. I'm like, I don't like this. Like, I like fantasy, don't get me wrong, but I need my fantasy to have one foot in reality, if that makes sense. I don't hate stories of like Fae, but I need it to be grounded. I need it to be a little bit more grounded. I don't want just off the wall stuff. I like a little magic, just not a lot of magic. I don't like where the magic kind of takes over the plot. Kind of like in science fiction where like the science takes over the plot. I'm like, I want the plot. I want the plot, please. I also have no idea what I'm gonna do with this contemporary romantic horror when I'm done with it. Like, I don't know if I want to challenge the query trenches again. Like, I don't know if I want to venture into that territory because the last several times I've done it, I left with a very kind of a bad taste for traditional publishing. Uh, Long story short is I spent a lot of time waiting. There was one agent who responded to my query 6 months after I had sent said query, and I had since marked it as no response. Wanted the full manuscript, sent it to her. I'm like, okay, cool. Then it was almost another like 9. I want to say it was closer to a year. No, I think it was a year in total. So it would have been another 6 months for her to tell me no in a form rejection. And it's just like, you're wasting my time. you, if you know you're not going to be interested in the manuscript, just tell me up front. Don't wait months. And I don't like that aspect of it. Just waiting and waiting and waiting for someone to pull you out of the slush pile and tell you that you're good enough. And I can't. It's very disheartening, and you have to be so persistent. And in the back of my mind, it's like I know there's that idea that traditional publishing is where it's at. Like, once you have traditionally published a book, you've made it. And I know that's not true. I know that's not true because I've heard other traditionally published authors say that's not true. And the odds of me being like a bestseller are slim. So if I go traditional, like the traditional route, I would just be, an average mid-list author. So why would I go through all of the rigmarole of traditional publishing, maybe get published, just to be a mid-list author when I can self-publish and be a mid-list author and get all of the royalties and do it in like a fraction of the time? So I keep going back and forth whether I want to even attempt traditional publishing or if I just want to just do it self-publishing from the start. Because again, I don't know if I'm ever going to write anything contemporary again because this one was a headache. Even though I have a couple ideas sketched out, but they're literally just ideas. It's not, I wouldn't even call it like a work in progress. It's more of literally just like a paragraph of an idea. So that's where it's going to sit. So ideally, I would like to jump into the sequel to The Blood Enchantress next, but it will depend on how I feel because that book, it's an outline form. It's a nice outline, but it just will depend on if I feel like rough drafting because it just takes kind of an intensive kind of creativity that I don't always feel to rough draft versus book 5 of this fantasy series is in rough draft form, so it would be me taking the rough draft and moving it into the first draft. So I would be drafting it into a later stage. It really depends on how I feel and what kind of creative mode my brain is in the next time I have the chance to write, which might be this weekend. I don't know. Depends. Usually when I have one really good writing weekend, the next weekend will not be a good writing weekend. I've noticed the trend of every other weekend being a nice writing weekend. There was something else that I wanted to talk about when I did this, and now I don't remember what it was. It was something writing related. No, I just thought of something else though. One major pro for going indie for this next book is that I can set the price to whatever I want. If I see one more traditionally published book and where the ebook is like $20, Absolutely not. I'm not paying that for an ebook. Like, that's no. That is pure profit. The ebook does not have to be that expensive. The whole point of the ebook, where it's a digital file. Like, I remember when ebooks were like $8, and I remember thinking that was expensive. And before anybody goes in the comments and says, "Oh, you know what authors, they get paid," that is literally not what I said. That is not what I said whatsoever. And if you cannot understand the difference between those two statements, get out of here. I don't want you here. And so let me break down the royalties. Like for Amazon example, an ebook that I publish on Amazon is 70% royalties to me, the author, 30% royalties to Amazon. So 70% of that $20 is going to the publisher that they will then divvy out. The author gets the least amount. And it's stupid, okay? I'm just going to say it. It's stupid. Like, I get physical books, like hardback books, being more expensive because the paper is expensive. There's no reason for the ebook, a digital file, should be the same price. It should not be $20. Because I am not spending $20 on an author that I have never heard of before. I'm not doing it. What if I get in there and I hate the book? That's $20. So that was one big pro for like me putting this book like on like the indie market, which is I can set it to $5 if I want to. If I want to be like, hey, this book's free this week, I can do that. I don't have to go ask permission to my publisher to do it. I can just do it on my own. So that is a big con. Not a con. Pro, it's pro. Cons of bad things. One of the biggest cons is I have to do it all myself, go find an editor that I trust, hire said editor, pay said editor, do a revision. I don't know. I don't like doing that. I don't like doing that side of stuff, like the finding of the people. It stresses me out. And the semester's over. I've turned in my grades, so for me, in my mind, summer is here because school is over. So this summer, I'm saying this now. I am cementing this on here on YouTube, so it's evidence, it's proof. This summer, my goal is to rough draft and maybe get into first draft stage of the sequel to The Blood Enchantress. That is my goal. I just have to be in the mood for fantasy and I just have to find like that one book to like just gets me back into like the fantasy reading, and I haven't found that yet. I started reading, oh, what is it? He Who Must Die, and I'm liking it so far. I'm about 10% in, and this book feels very similar to another book that I tried to read earlier this year, and I did not like. It's pulling some of the very same punches, but it's just doing it much better. I'm not going to say the name of the book that I didn't like. I don't want to throw shade like that. But I didn't like that book. I didn't like the character. I didn't like how like the world was being set up, and I just didn't like how things were like being. I didn't like the writing either. No, I'm thinking of a different book. The writing was okay, but the character was absolutely insufferable, and I just didn't like how the premise was unfolding. But I really like how this other book, He Who Must Die, is pulling some of the same tropes and like the plot devices, but it's just being done, me and my personal opinion, better. And I'm enjoying it so far. See, now if I end up don't liking this book, it's gonna look real bad on me. I don't think I will. Usually I will know within like the first 10% of a book if I'm going to enjoy the book. Like if I don't like the writing in chapter 1, I'm not going to like the writing in chapter 20. Like thank you so much for watching. Thanks for joining me on this nice little trip into what it's like to be an author. It seems more exciting than it actually is. I'm just kidding. I enjoy being an author. We're a weird bunch of people. Like you just go into a room like with a bunch of other authors, and it's just like you have this weird immediate kinship. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your night.